Bing. We're live. It is the Martin Fowler Scrum. It's a Thursday. Who else? Sam, Stamatius, Nicola, and Brent, the Four Musketeers, as they're sometimes have never been called in the past, but maybe in the future. I'll go. Maybe never again. Anyway, I'll go first today. So I've been on that again, anti-PAL membership database this morning, and I've made some progress of like importing the data into Zoho and MS Access 2007, which both seem like reasonable approaches as alternatives for the LibreOffice, which is just, I think, a non-starter going forward, unfortunately, which means I've burnt and lost a lot of work, which is frustrating. I'm gonna have to like work through the weekend or something, but there we go. That's not much fun, but at least we've got options. I'm going to put those options to the client and see which they prefer. I've also then been spending some time on the Rails 5 pull request on local support, which I've reviewed, and I think I approve that message. It looks good to me. I've also been running it locally and doing some manual checks and so on, and I'd love to kind of just get that out and get it started being battle tested, so to speak. Also merged in that what's it called, the mobile view thingammy, what's it as well. So what I've got coming up, I'm not really blocked by anything per se, apart from just like lack of time, the usual one. Got coming up the deep learning mob. It's Thursday, and we've got a local support meeting later on. That's everything from me. Nicola, you were in next. How are things with you?
I'm doing fine. I was working on website 1, trying to get some of the pull requests that are failing because of the Pendabot. I'm not blocked, so I was working on that. And after the pull request with Rails 5 upgrade on local support, I think that I will keep working on other issues. I don't know which ones.
Sure thing. Yeah. And so for me, I know there's like more that you want to get done with website 1. I'm just going to sort of focus on local support and kind of get that done, and then come back to website 1. But maybe we can have a quick look through the pull requests to website 1 at the end of the
cool.
Scrum.
And I would like to learn the how you say, the deployment process. I don't know if it is going to Heroku or to another servers.
Website 1. Yeah, absolutely. We can look at that briefly at the end if we have time. I'm keen to get the devise upgrade out for website 1.
Nice.
Great. Yeah. Wonderful. Thanks, Nicola. You're really that's becoming your specialty, is this upgrade. Good stuff. Let's go on then. Thanks, Nicola. Go on to Brent. How are things with you?
Yeah, I'm good also. So we had the local support pairing session last night with Nicola and myself. That went really well. I had a really good pairing session with Paolo as well on async voter. We got him set up with the client, and it was more of a Git tutorial than async voter, but I think he's grasped how to do pull requests and things now. And
wonderful.
So that was good. This morning I've been working on a fix for the embedded map issue. I fixed it, but I'm just trying to get some improved testing on there so we can make sure that it doesn't break again, basically.
Right.
So hopefully that'll get finished today. And then if I've got any more free time, I'm going to continue with the plural site tutorial on Mocha, because that's got some really good stuff in it, actually.
Great.
I'm confident that we can write some good tests for the async API client after I've finished that.
Wonderful.
No blocks. And then, we've got the local support meeting this afternoon, which I should be able to make.
Wonderful. Excellent. Thanks, Brent. Oh, great stuff. Great to hear about all those successful pairing sessions. Stamatius, how are things going with you?
Hey, everybody. For me, everything's going well. I actually just wrapped up the task on local support for the events mapping, having the markers show up on the mapping. All the Travis CI and the code climate, everything else was passing. I think even Nicola, you took a look at probably the pull request.
Yeah, I was working on that because the first time that I saw your pull request, it was failing, and I said, okay, maybe I can help. But I didn't know how to get the collection of the organizations from Capybara. So
I was struggling with that. But then I started looking through some of the other Capybara Cucumber steps, and I just found something that was going to work. So I just picked
Nice.
So the task basically is all wrapped up. Just waiting for it to be accepted or have any feedback. But if there's another task, I personally would like to get a little bit more exposure to more TDD as well. So if you have any task in particular, I'm looking at the backlog and I look, excuse me, there's something in my voice right now. I'm looking at the backlog. I'm not sure if there's any task. I mean, maybe I can pair with somebody on it. Other than that, I'll have to look through the icebox if I'm permitted to go through there. And pick a task.
Totally. There's no, it's access all areas with Agile Ventures. There's
Got it. Okay. I mean, unless you guys have any advice, then probably I'll go through the icebox.
Yeah, well, I think that's definitely something we can look at together at the end of the Scrum, which I think we've just come to. Yes, and so there we go. We've done all our reports. Yeah, so we've got, I think, two things outstanding there. One of which is maybe looking at some website one stuff with Nicola, and the other one is what does Stamatios do next? Yes, I mean, I've got the thing up here. Let's have a look at what we're doing. We've also got the issue with here that we've got the Rails 5 pull request, which I guess actually, I mean, now what I've manually tested locally. One of the key things that we've got here is, I'm going to find it. That's website 1. This is local support. Yeah, this was, I was just looking through some of your changes, Stamatios. What we've got here is we've got the Rails, which I've reviewed and is kind of ready to go. We've got your one, Stamatios, which I probably take a closer look at. I suspect if I merge this Rails 5, it's going to generate, potentially generate merge conflicts and things.
Yeah, it will.
Yeah.
Because
go on,
yeah.
Nicola.
Because of the migration, I think so, and the model.
Yes, and so yeah, and so we have a question here about the order of these things to merge them in, and we've got, it's kind of, if we were kind of in a different situation, we might say, well, because Stamatios, yours is coming afterwards, we would, and Nicola's coming first, we'll do that one. But particularly since this is your first pull request, and it would be good to get it merged in. I wonder, well, Nicola, one thing that you did was that you took Brent's pull request and you kind of merged it into that we just merged in for Brent, and you pulled it into the upgrade Rails.
Yeah, but when it was on develop, when you merged it,
okay. So after I merged it, so
yeah, so I can do the same with this one.
You could do the same. So if we merged
sure.
Stamatios's first, then that could be pulled in, and I think that might, yeah, because what I in my mind, I'm kind of balancing, what kind of load we put on which individual based upon how confident they're feeling about, and how new they are to the project and so on.
Sure. Yeah.
So yes, maybe that's the way to go. That in terms of new tasks, I mean, we've got some things here in the backlog. We've got this one, which is basically about an improvement to the breadcrumbs that was sort of done and then shown to the client, and the client and I agreed that it's still kind of confusing, and it was rejected and got put back into here. But so the people associated with it, there's been kind of no movement on it. This would be, I think it's a relatively straightforward one. This would be a very interesting one to have you take a look at, Stamatios, if you were interested.
Yeah, sure.
And conceivably, you might even have Lenzong to pair with on it, or one of the rest of us, or as I was saying, you can book a pairing slot with me through the. I think now we're connected on LinkedIn. Yeah, and I mean, I like Brent is. We should definitely, there's lots of bugs. We'd like to get them fixed. I'm also realizing that we've got this big backlog here of things that have sort of been started, and yeah, I've got to do a review of that. But this one, yeah, I'd say this is a very specific issue that affects how the site looks. That and sort of it bothers me that we've got this kind of slightly clunky thing. You see here we've got this, like, it says home slash. There's like this double slash thing going on, which doesn't make sense. And I think if we go into other things, like if we go into a specific here, like, I don't know. I mean, there's some, I think, disagreement about, you know, how exactly the breadcrumbs should display. At the moment, it kind of just ends up looking a bit messy and unclear. Do you know what I mean?
Right. You're referring to the double slashes?
Well, one thing would just be to sort of remove the slash, because I think it's kind of like the slash has been put in there, and then the breadcrumb gem that we're using is automatically adding another slash, which, I mean, it's kind of a trivial thing, but it looks kind of almost, for me, like if this was like helping me navigate in the site, I'd almost want this to be like, okay, home, and then all organizations, and then it actually had like NCT Harrow here that would actually be showing me the location of this kind of within the tree, so to speak, and it would be NCT Harrow that would be the thing that was grayed out, rather than like here. Shouldn't I be able to click on all organizations to go back to it?
Yeah.
Right.
Ideally, it should match the URL, shouldn't it? Really.
Yeah.
The structure of the URL, but with a more friendly naming, basically.
Yeah. Yeah.
I see. I got you.
So there's a few. I mean, I think the thing to do there is that we've also got, you know, there's the historical conversation about it, and a couple of developers have worked on this, and then I mean, there was also this session where I spoke with the client about it, which would be lovely if that video was linked in there. But there we go. But yeah, I mean, have a look through it. I think some of the people who worked on it previously struggled with it, I think, due to perhaps lack of familiarity with the gem or other bits and pieces. But yeah, this I think would have the nice feature of being a good visible fix on the site that we could deploy relatively quickly. It's unrelated to any of the other things that are being worked on, so there's, you know, very small likelihood. The likelihood of merge conflicts and things is low. So yeah, if you're kind of like, oh, I want to grab another thing, it's yeah. I mean, on the TDD side, yeah, I mean, you can be writing very specifically the cucumber test to, I'm on this page, this is exactly what I should see it fail, and then manipulate to make the test pass. So yeah.
Will do.
All right, good stuff. So that's one thing there. So local support, we've got the local support meeting later today. I think we can probably put local support to one side for the moment. I guess the new priority becomes for me to review Stamatios's pull request, and then it can be merged into this Rails 5. I think we won't worry about that. This will be the last one we do like that. So then the other matter on the table is the website one things, and yeah, so if we have a look at the pull requests there, so yeah, particularly with Nicola having succeeded on doing the devise upgrades on local support, we said let's do that on website one, and we looked at this actually in the meeting yesterday, didn't we? Had the website one meeting yesterday, and so this is ready to go now, right?
Yes.
Yeah. It seemed like we were sort of on a sticky something, but then and ultimately, yeah, I thought that. Oh yeah, no, you have. We've added these additional test stubs, and that's what sorted out the problem.
Yes.
Interesting. That was just like a random stab in the dark. But yeah, I think there's no reason not to merge that in. Apart from now, there's like an add your review, and I've just got to say something like awesome. This is, you know, it's like one of these things where it's like it's hanging over. It's like, oh, we need to upgrade devise, or there's some like random sticky something that's going to be a big pain at some point, and then it's like it's gone, it's done. So yeah, thanks so much for that. Let's pop that in. So then we've got, right, and I just sort of interpreting this. So you've started looking at another couple of the problem upgrade things.
Yeah, because reCAPTCHA has a problem because they changed the public key and the secret key names that they use for the configuration of the shell. So that was the problem with that. But I don't know why it doesn't end the test there. I think that is coverall, the one that
it's probably coveralls, isn't it? Being, I mean, that's, and coveralls is gosh, it's something we need to I don't know. I think the configuration for it is all right. I would, given the problems that it's caused us, I would be tempted to try and get CodeClimate coverage set up instead. It's been a real pain. There's something wrong in there, which probably reflects more our failure to update the settings and so on. But I don't know. Anyway, I'm very suspicious of any data coming back from coveralls at the moment.
Okay.
So the thing, of course, that we, you know, yeah, I know you know this already, Nicola. I just sort of restate in my mind is that I think it's great to be on the latest versions of things, but there's always dangers that the tests that we have will not pick up the issues. We had this before when we merged in the OmniAuth or
for the rollout certification. Yeah, I remember
GitHub, and it's yeah. But yeah, I'm definitely feeling very positive about the process of you know, getting things out. What I'm tempted to do here is I want to get, having just merged the devise, is I want to get that devise out, you know, do some manual testing, put it out into production, and you know, let the dust settle there and check, because sometimes it takes, you know, like 2 or 3 days before we find out that there was actually some sort of issue. Yeah, but I'd love to keep getting these things out today. Ultimately, what I'd love to do is get this also onto Rails 5, which I think would unblock various sorts of interesting things. So, but yeah, on the sides of the development process, the deployment process, what I would probably do there, we've got this developed server. Oh, this is interesting. I'm just getting this is running local support on the upgraded Rails locally. I've got a few intermittent errors that I presume will go away when I run them individually. Keep it off in the background. But yeah, the process that I use for website 1 is pretty much the same that I use for local support. So we've got there, that's the latest code that's coming in with the changes for the devise controller. We've got the same, exactly the same as in local support. We've got the develop, staging, and production servers, which comes from the master branch. Just having merged that develop, that will kick off a deploy process. Merge the devise pull request into develop. That will kick off. CI will run the tests. If the tests pass, it will then deploy it to develop. With this one, partly because on the for some reason on the develop server, even though for all that my efforts are trying, the GitHub and D+ logins there don't work, and that's kind of the sort of critical thing that needs to be tested. So in this case, I'm tempted to check out staging and then do this git rebase develop here. Now, of course, this is me where we do git remote -v grep origin. I'm not working on a fork. I'm using here the origin as, you know, website 1. So if in the future you were like doing this and moving things onto staging, then you would be kind of doing, I don't know what it would be like, git rebase, you know, depending on what your upstream or origin were. So, but pretty much the same setup as for local support. And then I would go into Heroku, and now that will now not be deployed, but or not yet because the CI is still running. There's a similar channel that you're probably not yet in called website 1 notify.
No, I'm not there.
Yeah, which is exactly the same pattern as we've got with local support notify. So the only real difference is that we're using Semaphore instead of Travis. It's still deploying to Heroku. But you can see here in the website one notify, and there you are. This, it notified that I just did the merge. There'll be a notification here when, when is it? There'll be a notification here when it finishes the deploy to staging, and at that point we might well go and turn on the staging server and look at it and run tests there. But so I can, maybe you don't have access to these servers, but if you're interested, and remind me of your email that it's.
Yeah, I will copy it here.
Yeah. We'll get you access to those servers. I almost had it in my short-term memory. There we go. Yes. Team admins have app permissions. That's interesting. I didn't seem to be able to new member. Why was I not able to? I'm logged in as me there. It's saying to me, integrity check. Organization app admin permissions failed. Team admins have app permissions. That's very strange.
Yeah.
And what's this? I'm on here. This is what it's on the develop. Well, I'll have to spend some time bashing my head on that. Anyway,
sure, no problem.
Yeah, it's confusing. Anyway, that's our Scrum. Yeah.
Nice.
I'll just stop there. I guess I'll turn off the broadcast. Feel free to hang around and chat with each other, or arrange pairing sessions, or this, that, and the other. I guess I'm gonna hang out here and try and work on this issue. But yeah.